Naoya Inoue does it again. He gets the early stoppage, the early victory against Yi Kim. And honestly, I was impressed with the fight, don't get me wrong, but it kind of made me think like we need to see Inoue in the States and we need to see him against better competition because like we don't really know the guys that he's fighting, honestly. You know, you got your Nonito and Stephen Fulton, Cool Boy Steph. That was a great performance. That was like the best win in my book, just because we know him in the States. We know how good Cool Boy Steph is, and or was at one point. We'll see if he can get some get back, and return and get that fight again eventually. But honestly, I don't see that because Inoue's just like on another level. So we really need to see Inoue eventually fight guys like Junto Nakatani, Bruce Carrington at some point, and maybe even Bam. Those are the real tests around that weight class, or in that weight class that I feel like Inoue could potentially fight, because honestly he's dominating everybody else, and that's credit to him. I'm not trying to take any credit away from him, but there are always like comparisons, right? Everybody's comparing him to Manny, everybody's comparing him to what he could potentially do, go up multiple weight classes and then clear out every division. But it's just like you're only as good as your opposition, right? So as good as Inoue is, he's only good as beating a guy like Cool Boy Steph, beating a guy like Paul Butler or Yi Kim, and these fighters are solid. Nonito's a Hall of Famer, but timing wise in Nonito's career, the first fight shouldn't have been close if Inoue was, I don't want to say he's not great. He's definitely great right now. He could be pound for pound number one. I have him number one or number two, him or Terrence Crawford. Terrence hasn't been active enough, obviously, but he's obviously planning that and plotting for that big Canelo Alvarez fight. So it's like different. It's different because I still see Terrence Crawford as kind of the baddest man on the planet when it comes to the sport of boxing, the most dangerous fighter. But he's looking for that Canelo fight, which he's getting in September, and which should be an exciting event. But Inoue is like active. He's still proving himself a lot. Not that we don't know that he's talented. We definitely can see that from the dominant performances that he's putting on every time he steps in that ring. But it's also like who you fight that makes you great. Your resume at the end of the day that real boxing fans can appreciate. And Nonito's great. Cool Boy Steph's great. Paul Butler. There are some good fighters, but ultimately we need to see him in better fights. Like I said, Junto Nakatani. We have fights set up eventually against Bruce Carrington, and maybe if we're lucky, we'll see Bam come up there and fight Naoya Inoue. These are all big fights at these lighter weight classes for Inoue, and I think that those are all fights that could and should take place in the United States so that he can just gauge, all the best fighters in the world right now. They're fighting not only in Saudi Arabia, but other than that, they're fighting in the U.S. So I'd love to see Inoue there. I feel like he'd do good numbers, especially, in Vegas, where there are a lot of Asian people that, when Manny was there, everybody knew about Manny and they would all watch him fight in Vegas. And the same should go for Naoya Inoue. I feel like Inoue coming to Vegas, people should still know about him, right? But I don't know if he's at that level of fame that Manny was, beating up so many Mexican fighters that were highly, respected, like Eric Morales, Marco Antonio Barrera, and, having a competitive back and forth rivalry with Juan Manuel Marquez. Like, that's the kind of stuff that, people want to see. That's how you build a following in the U.S. and make even more money. Not that he's not making a lot of money in Japan and Asia in general. I feel like he definitely is. He'll be fine. But to see yourself against the best, I feel like those fights are going to have to become more neutral, and he's going to have to fight on American soil. Not that he hasn't done it before, but a little bit more consistently as opposed to every time he's fighting in Japan, because I want to see him here. It's like if he fights here, there's a good chance I'll be able to cover that fight. If he comes to the US, I'll be able to watch him fight week and just see how he is. How cool, calm, and collected he is when it comes to the press conference, the weigh-in, and the promotion, and then actually fight night. We want to see him in the U.S. because it's a big boxing market as well. It's not all about being in Japan. I feel like the best of the best end up fighting in the U.S. So that's what I want to see for Inoue. I want to see that Junto Nakatani fight. I want to see that Bruce Carrington fight. I want to see him against Bam Rodriguez at some point. These are all such big fights for him. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Inoue's looking very powerful, very explosive, very dangerous. So I feel bad for any cab driver that ends up fighting him next. But hopefully he gets a big fight soon, because, you know, we see how good he is. We just want to see him against the best, and that would be in the US. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. But thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next Nabs boxing video. Peace.